Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation is Rag a-sabad-a-day. And because this is an ashtapadi, an 8-stanzad passage, we will recite it first and then go one stanza at a time. The recitation. Rag asa mahalla pehla, Aap Vicharai so Parakhe Hira, ek drishti tare gur pura, gur mane mante man tira, aisa saho sarafi karai, sachi nadar ek libtare rahao. Punji naam niranjan sar, nirmal saach rata paikar, sift sehj kar gur kartar, asa mansa sabd jalai, Ram Narayan kahe kahai, gur te vaat महल कर पाए. कंचन काया ज्योति अनूप, त्रिभुवन देवा सगल स्वरूप, मैं सो तन पल्लै साची अखुट, पंच तीन नव चार समावै, तरण गगन कल थार रहावै, बाहर जातो उलट परावै, मूर्ख होए न आखी सूझै, जहवा रस नहीं कहया बूझै, बिख का माता जग स्यों लूझै, उत्तम संगत उत्तम होवै, गुण को तावै अवगुण तोवै, बिन गुर सेवे सहज न होवै, हीरा नाम जवे हर लाल, मन मोती है तिसका माल, नानक परखे नदर निहाल. The Guru speaks about introspection, contemplation on the self, to discover a hidden diamond. Aap Vicharai so Parakhe, examining and contemplating the self within. Aap, examine yourself. Aap Vicharai so Parakhe, evaluate yourself. Deep reflection, in other words. So the Guru says, Aap Vicharai so Parakhe Hira, you will discover a hidden diamond in that process. Ek drishti tare gurpura. Tare gurpura. Tare means to swim across, but in the context, it implies accomplishment. To go past, to go beyond where you are standing currently. Because that's the idea, to transcend the ego. How may? You have to remember, that is the battlefield. So Tare, one has to overcome, transcend the ego. Gurpura, you need the perfect method, the perfect mentor. Because Gur implies both. So Ek Drisht. So if you find the right method and the right mentor, in other words, when the mind is prepared to listen to the spiritual mentor, to Gurbani, then Ekadrishtare, it takes you across in just a glance. In other words, in a flash, you will have this knowledge. But the mind has to be prepared first. You have to accept the teachings. You have to be convinced. Your mind has to be composed around those teachings. Ek drishtatare gur pura, gur manne. Manate, within the mind, there has to be this acceptance, manatira, composure, patience, fortitude. So you have to prepare the mind. This is preparing the ground, so to speak. Once the ground is prepared, and that might take a while, then the realization happens in a flash. Ek drisht. Just one glance will take you there. In the Rahau, the central message is that the self, which mediates with us through Guru wisdom, is likened to a Sah, Aisa Saho, master, banker. Aisa Saho, such is the master self. Sarafi Kare. Sarafi comes from the word saraf, which means a goldsmith. And a goldsmith engages in the art of alchemy. A goldsmith transforms baser metal to gold through an alchemical process. So here the Guru is saying that our self, the self with a capital S, the essence in us, is like a goldsmith. It transmutes our egoic manmukh nature into spiritual gold. That is the alchemy that it performs. And the alchemical process that the Guru uses, or that the self uses through the agency of the Guru, is Sachi Nadar, grace. Grace is that alchemical process through which our base metal, the ego, is purified. Ek liv tare. Tare again, to be successful, to transform. So success here is transformation through an alchemical process called Sachi Nadar. That is the process that you have to undergo. Now, how does that work? Punji Naam Niranjan Sar, Nirmal Sach Ratta Paikar, Sifat Sahaj Kar Gur Kartar. So exchange the capital of wisdom. So in other words, accumulate first the capital of wisdom, Punji Naam, which comes from Guru wisdom, from the Guru. Take that, exchange it for the valuable essence of Niranjan, the immaculate self within. Niranjan means one that is not touched by matter. In other words, that is timeless and eternal. Anjan actually means soot, blackness, darkness, ignorance. So the self is Niranjan. Nir means without. In other words, it is of the light. So exchange with the wisdom that you get from the Guru that essence. In other words, understand that essence. And then, Nirmal Sacha Ratta Paikar, with love and devotion, shape the mind. Paikar is to shape, form the mind with that wisdom. And in the heart, cultivate balance and quality. Sift Sahaj Kar. And the Gur will take you to the Creator. Sifat Sahaj Kar, Gur Kartar. So Naam, or self-knowledge, which translates to the virtues that we need, that is the capital. Another way of saying, develop these virtues in yourself for the proper conduct of life. That's the first thing you need to do, is to develop yourself from where you are. And then the individual who does that and shapes his life with wisdom is filled with love and leads a pure life, nirmal. Pure life means without the limiting impediment of the ego. The ego is the impurity, the impediment. That is what stops you from transcending yourself, from going beyond yourself. In that way, once you overcome the ego, the Creator is found effortlessly. What that means is the Creator is always present. The barrier is the ego. Once you break the barrier, lo and behold, there's the Creator. Asa mansa sabad jalai, Ram Narayan kahe kahai, gur te vaat mahal gur pai. Now that is the state of the individual who is following the instruction of Gur wisdom. Asa mansa sabad jalai. By following the instructions of the sabad, the individual transcends egoic desires and expectations. Asa mansa sabad jalai. Such an individual is inspired by Ram, the Narayan, the Godhead, so to speak, the source, Nar, iron, water, the source of life. You're inspired by Ram, which is the essence, that permeating essence. So that is the inspiration. And that person then, kahe kahai, expresses himself in accordance with the Creator self and inspires others to do so. The individual who is on this developmental path and achieves the objective, the body-mind apparatus becomes invaluable. In fact, it is invaluable. Kanchanakaya Jot Anupa. Why? Because it has the capacity to manifest that incomparable light of wisdom, Jot Anup. Our system, our apparatus, the body, the mind, is kanchan, gold, except we don't realize its value. It can reflect the Creator, should it follow Gur wisdom. So Kanchanakaya Jot Anup, Tribhavan Deva Sagal Sarup. It can, Tribhavan Deva, Deva is light, the master of the three worlds. And the Guru says, Main so tanapalle such akut. I have in my possession that eternal and inexhaustible wealth. Now with that inexhaustible wealth, the outward, the scattering tendency of the mind is unstable, you see, it's running from thought to thought. The Guru says, when you have that inexhaustible wealth, Guru wisdom, Bahar Jato Ulat Parya, the tendency of the mind is reversed. The mind now is inner-centered. The mind is now attuned with the Creator, who rules the three worlds, the 9 regions, the 4 directions, Panchateen and Navichar Samave, and whose powers hold the cosmos in place. Tarana Gagadkal, Tararahave. This is complete identification with Hukam. And now the Guru comes to those who actually don't pay heed to all of this. He calls them Murak, Manmukhs, foolish. He says the foolish do not discern. They don't have this discernment. Murak hoye na ki sujja. Because they have not cultivated an affinity, a taste for the divine presence. Jehva rasa nahi kahe abujja. They just have not done it. They are intoxicated, bekaka mata, with the poison of the ego. Jagasyo lujja, and what do? They live in constant conflict with the world. Uttam sangat uttam hove, gun ko tave, avgan tove, bin gur seve, sej na hove. How do you then go about transforming yourself? Only in the association of evolved individuals. Uttam sangat, that we can become evolved. Uttam hove. And we do that by overcoming our defects and developing qualities. Gun ko tave, avgun tove. Wash off your shortcomings. But the Guru warns us, this supreme state, Sahaj, bin gur seve, Sahaj na hove, cannot be developed without the Gur. The Gur is the right method, the right mentor. In conclusion, the Guru says, Hira naam jawahar lal, man moti hai tiska mal, nanak park hai nadar nihal. The person who is engaged in this process, that person's mind is like a pearl. Man moti hai tiska mal. That person's mind becomes like a pearl, an invaluable pearl, because it holds within it that precious jewel, the diamond of Naam. Hira Naam Javahar Allah. And so Nanak says, Nanak park hai nadar nihal. When the Creator evaluates such a person, it is pleased and it bestows its grace upon that individual. So engage in this process of transformation through the alchemy of grace. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.